I don't think so.
And now it's time for another edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam. With your host, the Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, Magic Voice of the 12th Man Fan Jam. This is indeed your self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity, and welcome one and all to a very special Team from Washington edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam show. The show made up of Seahawk fans from around the world talking about your Super Bowl champion, Seattle Seahawks. Over the next few moments we share together, we hope that you are entertained, we hope that you are enthralled, and we hope you are enlightened as we sit around and discuss the upcoming game for your Super Bowl defending Seattle Seahawks. So sit back, relax, grab a desired beverage or sin of your choice, and remember, call them what you want, Washington, they still stink. As is the usual with every show, we are not alone. No, I am joined, like I am every episode, by the 12th Man Fan Jam Posse, a ragtag group of diehard Seahawk fans from around the world. First, the yin to my yang. You can find his Minecraft videos on the Suffolk Blue YouTube channel. He is easily offended by my accents. From merry old England, it's Matt.
Good morning, Moses. How are you?
Wonderful, Matt. How are you?
Well, I bring good news and bad.
Oh, what's the good news?
The good news is Oakland Raiders lost and went home.
And the bad news?
Is Dennis Allen has applied for asylum in the United Kingdom.
Hey! You're welcome,
Bad.
England.
Thanks. Cheers.
That's what you get for giving us the Spice Girls. Next,
Something about Piers Morgan.
Well, okay, fair trade.
Oh, gosh.
Next, also from the state of Washington, our very own news hound, his 12th Man editorials can be found on the SeahawkSal.com website. He is offended by cat haters. You know him as Shadowhawk, and we know him as Will. Hi, Will.
Hey, Moses. I'm looking forward to Seattle's game against the Potomac Drainage Basin Indigenous Persons on Monday.
I think that's a perfect name for him.
I stole that one from Greg Easterbrook, so.
That's all right. I'm sure Greg Easterbrook, if you're listening, you get full credit. So, but it's very clever. Speaking of clever, from the state of California, just up the road from 49er headquarters, our own man behind enemy lines. He is our secret stealth joker, as I called him this week. He's offended by anything red and gold. You know him as Zorn76. We know him as Statsman Mark. Hi, Mark.
Hello, everybody. I am in enemy territory where, following the Chiefs 49ers game, they'll resume trade talks on Kaepernick for Smith.
I bet they're just thrilled to see Alex Smith back in town. Are they, Mark?
Well, he's not a very noticeable person, except when he's playing, so I guess so.
Not very noticeable. And we're speaking of noticeable, we're glad that you didn't notice our show, and we're glad that you're here. And we'd like to tell you how this show goes. For those who've listened before, we want to thank you for joining us once again for our show. For those who are listening for the first time, don't worry. We promise we'll be gentle, but be careful. Mark is an aggressive spooner, so you want to be careful with that. But here's how the show is run. It's run with 4 quarters and an occasional 2-minute warning, just like a real NFL game. In quarter 1, our news hound, Shadowhawk will catch us up on all of the wonderful news that we may have missed during the week. The second quarter is usually when we talk about the game from the week before, but there is no game from the week before. So we're going to talk about the potential NFC West matchups besides our very own Seahawk game, who San Francisco, St. Louis, and Arizona have to play this week, and just kind of touch on those. Our 2-minute warning before half will be another wonderful, fun edition of Headlines and Punchlines. If you haven't been on the show before or listened, we take a headline from the news and we add our own punchlines to it. Fun had by all. And then at halftime, of course, we have another wonderful you can play along game of halftime trivia, where I believe Matt was our defending champ. Is that true, Matt?
It is correct. I am defending champion, yes.
Matt is the defending champion. Halftime trivia with a Washington theme. That's all I'm really saying about that. Quarter 3, Statsman Mark and Medic Matt will catch us up on all the injuries and all the stats that we need to know for the upcoming game for your defending champion, Seattle Seahawks against the Washington Redskins. And in the fourth quarter, we will make our predictions, our prognostications, and our game balls, as well as here, Dustin, who is not here, who is part of the posse usually, and we like to say, hi, Dustin, we miss you. Dustin plays a Madden version of the game, and we will go over that score and stats, and then next week we'll see how close his Madden game was to the real thing. By the way, we'd like to hear, if we've heard from Dustin, we'd like to hear from you as well. If you have a chance to drop us a quick email or mention on this YouTube channel or on the thread that this is on, we would love to give you a shout out, or we'd love to hear, hey, it's great, hey, it's terrible. There's our email on the screen, 12thmanfanjam@gmail.com. You can email us at Gmail. You can reply to this thread. You can reply to this video. There's a million ways to get a hold of us. Please do stop and say hi. We love to hear that people are actually listening to this show. So, without any further ado, I guess it is time to start off first quarter with news. Yes, news that was going on while you were too busy on your bye week, passed out and resting your voice. It's a Shadowhawk Will with our weekly news. Will, what do you have for us this week?
Well, Moses, Lions linebacker Stephen Tulloch became the butt of many jokes a couple of weeks ago when he tore his ACL celebrating a routine sack.
Indeed.
However, it speaks volumes that Tulloch's injury may not be the most ridiculous one suffered by a member of the Detroit Lions this year. If you were watching the Lions-Jets game last Sunday, and I'm not sure why you would, you may have noticed that Lions tight end Joseph Fourier was not playing. He was ruled out for the game due to a sprained ankle that he suffered in the home. According to Fourier, the injury happened when he was on his stairs running to try to stop his 3-month-old dog from peeing in the house. The dog's name, by the way, is Little Rufio.
Little Rufio. That is a cool little name for a dog.
I thought so, but
little Rufio. But
at first glance, you'd think it's ridiculous. But would you make up a story like that?
No, absolutely not.
Plus, this is the same franchise that lost Nate Burleson to a broken arm while he was trying to keep a pizza from sliding off his car seat. So,
memories. Twisting an ankle, going after a dog to keep it from peeing on the floor. I think that's a first world problem, Mark, isn't it?
It is. Little Rufio was going to do a little wee.
Moses, it's a bit like one of those excuses you get as kids. Like, he must have phoned in the whole, phoned into the team and said, I'm afraid I've, what I've done. And a bit like when you didn't do your homework as a child because your dog ate your homework. But I just can't imagine having to ring into the head coach and say, hi coach, just so you know, I've broke my foot or I've done whilst trying to get a dog from peeing in my carpet.
Oh my God.
He was definitely not in condition.
No, apparently not. And it must be one heck of a floor that Rufio was going to pee on, because if you're going to risk your $1 million body over a little dog peeing on the floor, and little Rufio doesn't sound like a big, huge dog, so I don't know how big of an area this little dog's going to pee in, but I think you can pick that up. I think you can mop that up, or you can get some stuff and clean that up. I don't know if he's aware of that. There are cleaners out there that are used for just such a thing. That's pretty good, though. And the Lions are off to a great start thanks to those two guys. They raised the bar. We had Nate Burleson last year with the pizza arm incident, but now we've had a guy, celebrating and out for the year, and now, tight end breaks his ankle or hurts his ankle because his dog peed on the floor. I can't wait to see how they raise the bar. Any predictions, Will, on who you think will be next?
My guess will be Matt Stafford killed by falling satellite.
Or he'll go to spike the ball and it'll hit under his chin, under the face mask, and knock him out or something. That would be awesome.
That'd be entertaining.
That would be entertaining.
I was just impressed that Burleson broke his arm in 30 minutes or less.
Well, if he'd taken longer than that, it would have been free.
Yes.
Oh, good night, everybody. We can't top that. We're done. New show. No. Oh my God. Well, Lil Rufio made some news. What else made news this week, Will?
Well, Moses, I am, but judging by everything I see and hear, one of the few people who doesn't play fantasy football. Many people, of course, do, including NFL football players like Giants tight end Larry Donnell. Last week, Larry Donnell benched himself in favor of 49ers tight end Vernon Davis, figuring that Vernon Davis would score more points than Donnell. Did I mention that the game he benched himself for was the Giants' victory over the Redskins?
And I believe he had 3 touchdowns, did he not?
Caught 7 receptions and 3 touchdowns. Meanwhile, Davis had 2 catches, 8 yards, no touchdowns, and hurt himself.
If I'm going to have a fantasy team and I'm an NFL player, and I'm not, so I don't know how they think, I don't know what they do, but I would be pretty sure if I played tight end and I picked myself on my team, Mark, I don't think I'm benching myself ever. What about you?
Well, I'm not a fantasy league person either, but I don't know. It speaks to a general sense of fantasy lack of confidence.
I would think so. So.
Totally.
Absolutely. And Will, you said you don't play fantasy football?
No, I gave it up a while. I kept benching everybody who was playing against Seattle, and then I ended up losing as a result. So
I've been in the league. This is our 20th year, and I'm not making that up. Our 20th fantasy football year. My son is actually in the league now, and he wasn't even born when it started. It's crazy. My team is the Punt Monkeys. There are some great names out there, by the way. The
also some pretty bad ones.
Oh my God! Somebody told me once that their fantasy football team is the Multiple Scoregasms, which is maybe my all-time favorite name. But Matt, you're not a fantasy guy?
No, not at all. Not at all. I don't get it. I enjoy my football by watching it. I don't enjoy my football by sitting there with a pen and a paper and trying to work out who I'm going to bench and who I'm not going to bench.
Well, I think the reason that my leagues lasted so long is we don't do it for money. I mean, I think once you put money into it, now to me it's gambling, and that's scary and that's serious. We set up our teams, and then I don't see my team for 13 weeks. I come back, oh look, I went 8-5. I don't know.
What scares me, Moses, is that the league is taking it seriously enough to change rules and make things better for fantasy players.
Exactly.
That's what worries me. Is
that's pretty scary.
That part of the game seems to be getting more attraction than the actual game itself.
Well, and it's changing the perception of the whole league. I mean, you got guys like Matthew Stafford who, okay, good quarterback, got room to improve, but he throws for 5,000 yards and people think he's great. Russell Wilson, okay, doesn't have the stats, but has literally everything else, including the wins in the Super Bowl, and people say he's not as good a quarterback because he doesn't throw for as many yards. Yeah. And I think that's a direct result of fantasy football.
Yep, totally.
This is a good example. Real quick before you do your last story, Matt, if you could do something with me here. Monday Night Football, we're playing Monday Night Football, and of course, Monday Night Football has the best theme ever known to man, and it just changes what you say. If you put this Monday Night Football theme behind anything you say, it just makes you excited. So I'll give you an example. Matt, if you could ask me if I play fantasy football, and then we'll do it without the music, and we'll do it with the music. Okay, you ready?
Right then.
Okay, go ahead.
Moses, do you play fantasy football?
Yes, I do. Let's see how boring that is. But now, Matt, ask me again. Moses,
do you play fantasy football?
Hell yeah, baby! I love fantasy football! Whoa! See how it changes?
Yep, all my rowdy friends are coming over tonight.
Yeah, it just changes everything. Would you like green beans? No. Hey, kids! Green beans, baby! Woo! Give me some green beans, yeah! Okay, sorry. I can't stand it! Green beans! All right, we're done with green beans.
Moses, hand away from the button.
I'm done. Right,
Well, I was just going to say, we got to keep in mind, too, the reason that Rice only got 2 game suspensions originally is Goodell didn't want to lose him for the rest of the year in his fantasy league.
That really wouldn't surprise me if that were true.
He's him and Peterson. Why? They were on my team. Somebody has both of them on their fantasy team, and that's horrible. I feel so bad for them. Oh, Will, what else you got, bub?
Well, Moses, back in the 2011 draft, the Giants selected cornerback Prince Amukamara in the first round. He's done okay so far, hasn't really set the world on fire. Off to a really good start in 2014, 2 interceptions and 25 tackles so far. Now, you might think, and he says basically that, coming into his 4th year, consistent system, really learning the game. One of his teammates, Antrell Roll, thinks that there's another aspect in play to Amukamara's success this year. You see, the young cornerback is a devout Christian who abstained before sex, before marriage. For him, living up to his principles. Well, he just recently got married, and Antrell Roll believes that has played a role, so to speak. Quote, there are a lot of things different about Prince. For one, he's married, so he's enjoying some things that he wasn't experiencing before he was married. For a man, that could definitely help him out. For a man, I'm just being honest, it is helping him out. He walks around with a little more swagger, which is something that we need, which is something that we love.
Oh, my God.
Well, and it gets better, Moses, because everybody, including Prince Amukamara, seems to be getting into the joke. On Thursday, while walking off the practice field, he walked over to reporters and said, yeah, I'm getting laid. The locker room was playing Marvin Gaye's Sexual Healing. The New York Post and the Daily News ran headlines referencing the Big Bang Theory. And Roll himself later said, I've got to let him keep building. He's growing. He's getting better. He's doing a phenomenal job, and we just need him to, quote, keep rising, quote.
And that, folks, that's what she said. That is what she said. Oh, my God. Wow.
Mr. Mojo Rising.
Yeah.
There you go.
When he comes out now, they have a little intro for him. They say, now, our starting defensive back from Nebraska, the one from Nebraska, Prince Amukamara. Oh, yeah, baby. And he just comes bouncing out of safety. He's going to catch your balls, baby. That's right.
He's going to go deep.
Oh, yeah. If you go deep, you're going to pay. You're going to pay big time because he's going to take it. And he's going to go the other way because that's what he does, baby. He goes the other way.
They didn't call him Big Blue for nothing.
But we all know what's going to happen if his game really badly deteriorates. But everyone's going to go, yeah, he ain't getting it no more. Suddenly,
you need to get laid.
Yep, pretty much.
That whole married life thing has just kicked in, hasn't it, Moses? Where you don't get sex forever.
Well, and the thing is, he plays for New York, so I'm sure they'll be really easy on him in New York if he doesn't do well.
They're very understanding.
Yeah, they'll be easy on him in New York. They're like, hey, you got to get laid, Prince. You dropped that one.
Well, at least he'll do well for the next couple of months.
Did I dodge the marriage question good there, Matt?
You did a superb job. I'm texting your wife as we speak. As you did a superb job.
Marvelous. Thank you for doing that. Wow. And while he's texting my wife,
it's the end of the first quarter, bitches.
It's the end of the first quarter. Yes, let's take a brief break here, and we'll come back to the second quarter. We'll talk about the NFC West and the upcoming game between the Seahawks and the Redskins, of course. We'll take a quick station identification, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
Football is back, and once again the Washington Redskins are getting their ass kicked. But this time, instead of Cowboys and Patriots, it's by the Seattle Seahawks.
And now it's time for the second quarter of the 12th Man Fan Jam. Here to take you through the second quarter is once again our host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you again, Magic Voice of the 12th Man Fan Jam, and welcome to the second quarter of our very special Washington Redskin edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam show. And I'm very happy to announce that we have been joined by a special guest tonight to make our show truly international. We always talk about being fans around the world, and we are around the country. We're from the Midwest, and we're from California, and we're from Washington, and we're from England. Well, now we're also in Canada tonight. And coming from Canada to talk to us is a season ticket holder, a soccer player, a hockey player, a wonderful person. He loves to shovel snow, and his name is, you know him as Northernhawk. We know him as Andy. Andy, welcome to the show. The kids love you, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Andy, like I said, is a season ticket holder. And Andy, you are from Alberta, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, excellent. And real quick, before we get into the second quarter, start talking about the NFC West, I want to share a little bit. I think I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, and I'm sorry, but you are about to have the world's largest indoor soccer game. You want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, sure. So this is our third go around. We did a couple outdoor games, and next weekend we're playing for 48 hours straight for fundraiser for the Cancer Foundation.
For the Alberta Cancer Foundation, and the website is up there on your screen. And you also play a hockey game as well, is that right?
I don't play in the hockey game. I've done some refereeing and stuff like that in the hockey game. The hockey game is nuts. They go like 12 days straight.
Oh, geez. Cool.
What kind of final score do you get on a 12-day hockey game?
Last time it was, if I recall, it was like 1,400 to 1,200 or something like that. They do actually keep score of every goal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Now, see, if hockey scores were like that, I think more Americans would get into hockey. That's all I'm saying.
No, it'd still be too fast for y'all.
Yeah, probably. It probably is. But anyway, we're not here to talk about hockey and soccer, but if you do want to donate to the Alberta Cancer Foundation, it is a very worthy cause. And
Much appreciated.
We're very glad you're here, Andy. It's been a long time. Andy and I are long lost brothers and friends. Andy I've said this before, and I say it every time he's on, he slept in my daughter's bed the last time he was at my house. So he and I are very close.
I really wish you'd forget that.
Yeah, I guess I should mention she wasn't there, but But yeah, Andy slept in my daughter's bed and left her some coins. So I don't know what that meant, but there you go.
Did you leave a mint on the pillow?
Canadian money.
Good night, everybody.
Money. Good night, everyone, again.
Yeah, good night. Wow, we've gone through 3 shows. So let's start the second quarter. Usually we talk about the good and the bad, the ugly from the game before, but we're on a bye week. We did that last show. If you want to hear that, go back to the bye week show and you can listen. We're going to talk about the games coming up for the NFC West that are around the NFC as opposed to the game that we're playing. The NFC West was almost all on a bye last week with the exception of one team, and that was San Francisco. And we all sat around, we rooted for Dallas, and we found out that the Cowboys are, well, they're the Cowboys. So we won't really talk about that game too much, but we'll talk about these upcoming games. So we'll start with Zorny since he's in the enemy territory. Kansas City at San Francisco. This is the return of Alex Smith back to the people that really kind of ran him out on the rails. Mark, what's the vibe in San Francisco for the upcoming game with the Chiefs?
Well, the Chiefs come in on a roll, and with all the talk of Harbaugh and his antics and behavior, if there was ever an "I told you so" moment, it was started by Alex Smith when he got booted out of town.
Very true. Very true. Will, what do you think about this game, this matchup?
Moses, I honestly don't know. The Chiefs are this has been a strange season to be in general after 4 weeks, and the Chiefs are just one of those strange teams I can't really get a read on. I mean, they lose to the Titans at home, and then they come out and absolutely clobber
Patriots.
Clobber the Patriots. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Brain shut down for a minute there. So I could see them going into the Field of Jeans or whatever the hell they call that dump, and beating the Niners. I could see them going in and having the Niners just completely spank them. So, I mean, I think San Francisco is not as good a team as they were last year, but the Chiefs are a real wild card.
Yes, they really are. Another game on tap is St. Louis at Philadelphia. There is a rumor, Matt, that these rumors about St. Louis going to LA are getting stronger and stronger. Do you think St. Louis can stand up to that Philadelphia offense this week?
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, Foles didn't have a very good game against the Niners. 43 attempts, 21 completions, 195 yards, no touchdowns, four turnovers for the Eagles. I mean, it's, who knows? Again, I have to agree entirely with Will. This whole start of the season has just been up and down and roundabout, and things are happening which people are just not expecting. So anything could happen. But for my money, I'd say that the Eagles are going to come out on top. I don't think St. Louis are disciplined enough. They fall apart far too quickly, and as soon as they get behind it by a small margin, the wheels start coming off. So anything can happen, but I'd give this one to Philly.
All right, I hope you're right. And then Andy, of course, we have the Arizona at Denver matchup, which is kind of surprising because Arizona is the top of our division, and Denver, kind of struggles with the West. What are your thoughts on that game?
That one's a tough one too, I think, because I haven't really seen Arizona play too much, and I'm a little surprised. I'm sure a lot of people are surprised to see them at 3-0. Obviously, they got Larry Fitzgerald, and that's a tough guy to shut down anytime. But Drew Stanton, Drew Stanton.
Who'd have thought?
Get it, so.
Drew Stanton. That's it, Drew Stanton. Every time he throws the ball, I go, Drew Stanton. I do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not as if Carson Palmer was going to be the end all to be all, but Arizona just seems to be hitting off on all cylinders right now. So I think that's going to be a closer game than people think. And as much as we love to hate them, I'm going to pick Denver to beat Arizona, and that help us out a little bit.
Oh, I sure hope you're right. I sure hope you guys are all right. It would be nice to get a leg up on the entire division if we can beat the Redskins. And speaking of beating the Redskins, it is time for our 2-minute warning.
Holy shit, it's a 2-minute warning!
And in this section of the 2-minute warning, we are going to finish up before halftime with a very special episode of Headlines and Punchlines. Yes, Headlines and Punchlines, where we take a very special headline and we give our own punchline to it. This is a time where, as a teacher, I ask the class if they have come prepared. Has anyone come prepared with a punchline to our headline before I tell you what the headline is? I know Matt.
Got 3.
See, Will always does his homework. Will is the goody two. He's the Russell Wilson of our class. Mark, do you have any by chance?
I have 2.
Oh, Mark's got 2, and I know that I think one from Matt from Merry Old England. Is that right?
Yeah, just the one.
All right. Here's how we play. We take a headline and we add our own punchline. The headline tonight is about the Redskins losing to the Giants, and it's very simple. The Redskins lost to the Giants 45-14 last week. So we will start with Matt. Matt, are you ready?
Yes.
By the way, before I start, Andy is our guest. Do you have any punchlines to add?
All I know about punching is go for the throat.
I know you do. You're a great.
I can vouch for that personally.
Yes, as can I. Great throat puncher in his own right. So we will go ahead and start with Matt.
Can I just say I've thought long and hard about this one before we went. Okay, so I'm ready to go.
Excellent. Go. What a setup. Okay, the Redskins lost to the Giants 45-14 last week.
Who the hell cares?
Brilliant.
That's it. I'm out. I'm done.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Well Will, the Redskins lost to the Giants 45-14 last week.
DC residents later sued the NFL over the team name, claiming that the name Washington was offensive to them.
I know a lot of people would do that. Mark, the Redskins lost to the Giants 45-14 last week.
Daniel Snyder announces he's changing his team's names to Broken Arrow.
All right. The Redskins lost to the Giants 45-14 last week. President Obama said, "Hey guys, thanks for taking the suck spotlight off me in this town." Political.
Nice.
It was there. He's the president. I have to do it. All right. Back to Will. Will, the Redskins lost to the Giants 45-14 last week.
RG3 investigated for the possibility of selling the Redskins playbook to the Giants to make Kirk Cousins look bad while he is injured.
Conspiracy in Washington. Who would have thought? Mark, the Redskins lost to the Giants 45-14 last week.
Eli Manning's house is egged and toilet papered in preparation for future sucking.
And let's see. The Redskins lost to the Giants 45-14 last week. I haven't seen a defense this bad since Iraqi Republican Guard Operation Desert Storm.
Nice.
Little historical thing there because they're in Washington. Okay. And finally from Will.
I've got one.
Oh, Matt's got
Don't
another
forget
one.
your friend Andy.
Yeah.
Oh, Andy, you got one. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Andy, the Redskins lost to the Giants 45-14 last week.
But we're still only going to give Seattle one primetime game because we don't like to see blowouts on national TV.
Thank you.
Yay! Excellent. Matt's got another one. Matt,
Yeah,
the Redskins lost
on the cuff. Go ahead.
Okay, the Redskins. Is it going to be Who Cares again?
No.
Okay. Redskins lost to the Giants 45-14 last week.
And as their bad luck continued, rumours emerged that the stadium may have been built on an Indian graveyard.
Oh, dear. Oh, Will, the Redskins lost to the Giants 45-14 last week.
CBS executives announced they would sell their souls to the devil in exchange for a decent Thursday night game.
And finally, the Redskins lost to the Giants 45-14 last week. RG3 immediately took a hammer to his good leg to prevent a quicker return.
Nice.
And that's the end of the first half.
Holy shit, it's halftime.
We are going to regather ourselves, get ready for a play-along game of halftime trivia that you, the listener, the watcher, can play along with. We will take a quick station identification and be back with that very game right after this.
Hey, this is Matt, all the way from merry old England, and you're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam.
Yes, it's once again time for another rousing rendition of your favorite halftime trivia game. It's 12th Man Fan Jam Halftime Trivia. Yes, the show that puts our posse to the test to see how well they know useless trivia. So let's get right into the show, shall we? All right, everyone can settle down. Let's meet our contestants for tonight's show. First, our guest. He's our favorite Canadian that's on the show tonight. And he gets a belt. His hobbies include eating Canadian bacon and shoveling snow. He's no Canadian idiot. He's Andy.
Hey. That's me.
Don't wanna be a Canadian idiot.
All right, enough of that.
Too late.
I know. Our next guest, our next person on the posse. He wishes that he had a mullet like Sammy Hagar had back in the day. This has become his theme song in trivia. It's The Winner Takes It All from the wonderful movie about arm wrestling, Over the Top. He is Will.
I think my theme song should be changed to Never Gonna Get It. Because I'm always off by like 2 points or 3 yards or whatever.
You are just barely off. You're always just barely off.
You say theme song again.
Theme song.
Okay, theme song.
All right, theme song.
Hey, Shing Chong. The next theme song is a guy that lives in Hotel California right now. Wishes he could get out, I'm sure. His 49er hatred is absolutely delicious and strong. He is Mark.
In the words of Stephen Wright, the comedian, thanks.
And now it's time for our defending champ. Our defending champ from merry old England, trying to defend his champion against three newcomers. He is Matt. I can add. It's Matt.
Feeling pretty good about the math questions.
Yes.
Can I just say to the listeners and shut off the music? Let's just say to the listeners, Moses has had a very difficult recording session this evening.
I really have. It has really. My God, it has been like. It's been unbelievable.
Well, Moses, we're all proud of you for pushing through it.
Well, I've been taking a lot of shots, and so I feel pretty good about it. So while I get my shots taken here for the actual trivia show, let's tell you how this is played. There are two rounds of questions, if you will, and you will each get one question. You get a point for each question. You get 3 options, and while we're playing, you, the listener, can play along because the questions will be up on the screen. So you can play along with them and see how you do against the very posse. I'd like to know if anyone's out there actually playing this game, how they do. Let me know. Hey, I did great. Hey, I did terrible. We'd like to know that. So if you get the chance, please do let us know how you're doing. And at the end of 2 rounds, you get a point per question. At the end of 2 rounds, there will be a final question where everyone gets to pick a number over some kind of trivia question, and the one closest without going over will get 2 points. And I have a special tiebreaker if there happens to be a tie between 2 people or 3 people. There is a tiebreaker question tonight, so there will only be one champion tonight. So, are you gentlemen ready to play?
Yep.
Always.
Halftime.
Oh, I suppose.
All right. Here's how we're going to do this. We're going to start with our champion. We have 4 questions each round. So, the first round is Redskin trivia. So, Matt, you can pick 1, 2, 3, or 4. Which question would you like?
Russell Wilson, number 3.
All right, Matt's going to take question 3. Our next will be our guest, Andy. Andy, 1, 2, or 4?
Lucky 4.
Andy takes question 4. And then next would be our second place guy last week, which was Will. Will, 1 or 2?
Well, I seem to be coming in second every time, so I'll take 2.
All right, and that means that Mark's going to lead us off. Okay, the first topic for the first round is Redskin Trivia. The first question goes to Mark. Mark, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll remind everybody, please, no Googling. And
but Bing is okay.
No Googling. No, the 3 rules are simple. No Googling, no phone calls to friends, and please no wagering, because this is a friendly competition. All right, here we go. Mark, your first question is this. Out of 15 regular season matchups, how many games have the Seahawks defeated the Redskins? This is regular season. Out of 15 regular season matchups, how many games have the Seahawks defeated the Redskins? Is it 4, 6, or 8? 4, 6, or 8. How many times out of 15 have the Seahawks defeated the Redskins?
I will go with 6.
Mark will go with 6. Oh, Mark. I'm sorry, 4. 4. And Mark still has a goose egg. So we will move on to Will. Will, your question is this. How many times have the Seahawks defeated the Redskins in the playoffs? Has it been twice, 3 times, or 4 times? Hey, Will! Guess who's back? It's the organist!
I was just going to say I can't concentrate without the organ.
Well, there she is, baby. How many times have the Seahawks defeated the Redskins in the playoffs? 2, 3, or 4 times?
I'm going to say 3. 2005, 2007, 2012.
All right.
Good.
Hey, you don't have to show off, all right? Okay, we're impressed, but you don't get extra points. But he's right 3 times. Yay! So Will's on the board. Will seems a little angry about the last couple competitions, so he's out with a vengeance. He wants to show off tonight. So, all right, Matt.
Yeah.
What college did? No, I'm kidding. Okay.
Oh, piss off.
Matt, your question is this. The Redskins have currently defeated the Seahawks how many straight regular season games? They're actually on a streak. They've defeated the Seahawks how many straight regular season games? Is it 4, 5, or 6? 4, 5, or 6?
Let's be optimistic. 4.
He's going to be optimistic. I'm just going to scuffle it. All right. He's going to be optimistic and say 4. And Matt, optimistically, you're wrong.
Ah.
6.
Good gracious.
6 straight regular season games.
You need to get the hell out. What's going on here?
I know.
Damn.
And now Andy, our guest, our Canadian.
Pressure's on.
Pressure's on. Will's the only one's got one right,
Andy.
so, you should feel pretty confident. Andy, when was the last time the Seahawks defeated the Redskins in the regular season? Was it 1996, 1998, or 2000? Last time the Seahawks...
1998. What the hell?
He's going 1998 and added a what the hell to it. Hey,
You didn't
Andy.
get bonus points for that either.
Andy, what the hell? You got it right.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about right there, baby.
1998.
Yeah.
So, at the end of round 1, Will and Andy are tied at 1. Mark and Matt are tied at 0. So, we go to the second round. And the second round questions are Washington potpourri. So, we will take Andy, who's our guest, can pick 5, 6, 7, or 8. Andy, what question would you like?
Let's go with 6.
Andy's going with question 6. We will take Will, 5, 7, or 8.
Well, I wish there was a 9 in honor of our NFC Special Teams Player of the Month on Ryan, but there's not, so I'll go with 8.
Will goes with 8. That then leaves our champ Matt with 5 or 7.
Let's go Travara 7.
And once again, Mark will be leading us off. So, here we go. This is for 1 point each, of course, the start of the second round. And we'll start with Mark. Mark, are you ready?
I am.
All right. Your question is this. Approximately how tall is the Washington Monument? Is it 500 feet, 550 feet, or 600 feet? How tall is the Washington Monument?
Oh, Christ.
Can you give me those options again?
500 feet, 550 feet, or 600 feet?
Well, I know that none of those exceed Daniel Snyder's ego.
Mark, way to bring that back to football. Go ahead.
Oh, boy. You know what? I'm going to say 550.
He says 550, just for the hell of it, right?
Just for the Snyder of it, yes.
That's right! 550! Woo!
Woo!
And all of a sudden, Mark is on the board. Now it comes down to Andy.
Yo!
Currently have a point. You can take the lead with this question. Are you ready? I don't know if I can get through this question without laughing. I'm going to try.
Oh, this will
Andy,
be good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
How much did George Washington make as president of the United States? Did he make $15,000, $20,000, or $25,000 as president of the United States? George Washington.
Remember, this is US dollars.
The Canadian is being asked how much our first president made.
Got a Canadian question here?
We need a War of 1812 question.
We should have. 15,000, 20,000, or 25,000.
I'm gonna go 15,000.
He's gonna go 15,000, and the correct answer is. Oh, I'm sorry. It's 25,000.
Oh,
and he donated it all to the Ice Bucket Challenge.
If it helps, Andy, the Americans didn't know that one either.
No.
Okay.
All
it
right.
doesn't help, but thanks.
And now we're to the Englishman, Matt. This is almost as bad as this is a college question, believe it or not. Okay, here we go.
Oh, what? Jeez Louise!
Here we go. All right, Matt.
I don't care. B.
Just listen. Which United States president was an All-American football player from Michigan? Was it Gerald Ford, Ronald Reagan, or Dwight Eisenhower? Which president was an All-American football player from Michigan? Was it Gerald Ford, Ronald Reagan, or Dwight Eisenhower?
Now, Ford was the little skinny dude, wasn't he?
I don't know if he was a little skinny dude.
Reagan was the actor bloke.
Yes.
And what was the other one?
Eisenhower was a general. But Ford, I wouldn't call him little and skinny.
Yeah. Eisenhower. I can't remember. Was he the one that had like polio or something?
No.
Oh well,
no.
I'll go with Eisenhower.
He's gonna go with Eisenhower. And the Englishman answering a question about the United States presidents, and the answer is it was Gerald Ford.
What was he? What position did he play? Water boy?
No, actually, I think he played fullback or something. He was actually pretty good.
water boy!
Yeah.
You're fine!
But so Matt, you are still at 0, I believe.
That's all right. I'll put it back in the final round and beat.
So now, Will, the pressure's on. Will, trying to go 2 for 2. Are we ready? Will?
Okay.
There's a thing called the Washington rule. This is football related. The Washington rule is this: when the Redskins play prior to Election Day, if they win, the incumbent stays in office, and if they lose, the incumbent for president gets voted out of office. You follow me?
Yep.
Okay. This has worked every year since 1936, except twice. Okay? The most recent one was when the Panthers defeated the Redskins in 2012, and Barack Obama was reelected. Okay? What I want to know is who was the other president able to break the Redskins rule and stay in office despite the fact the Redskins lost their last home game before the election. Here are your options: Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, or George W. Bush. Which one of those guys broke the Redskin rule? It's only one of 2 people to ever do it since 36.
Answer is George W. Bush because he lost the popular vote in 2000.
Ooh. You just like showing off, don't you?
Well, it's kind of a key distinction.
And actually, you're right! George W. stayed in office despite the fact the Packers beat the Redskins in 2004. So, here's where we are.
I honestly say, I honestly thought that your elections were decided if the Miami Dolphins won or lost, because then you got a load of ballots together and burnt them around the back of the stadium.
Well, if we did it with the
on
Dolphins,
occasion,
we never know who won. You never know who won. All right, here's where we're at right now. Will has 2 points. Mark has a point. Andy has a point. And Matt is at the bottom. But this final question is worth 2 points, as you know. And we're going to go in order of scores here. And the first one, the one closest without going over gets 2 points. If everyone's over, the one closest to the answer, it's a number. So here is your
45.
question for tonight. So we're going to start.
God, he's so quick.
Perfect.
I love how 45 gets thrown in the show. All right. The question is this. How many... Now, in 1998 was the last time the Seahawks won. They beat the Redskins 24-14 in regular season. The question, Will, is how many yards rushing did Ricky Waters have in that game? He was the leading rusher in that game. How many yards did Ricky have in 1998?
Where do you come up with these anyway?
I have, I try to find ways to make you guys suffer. This is how I do it. How many yards rushing did Ricky Waters have?
Oh dear. I have no idea. Let's just go 117.
Will says 117. Next would be Andy. How many yards do you think Ricky had that game?
I'm gonna say 98.
Mark, how many yards do you think he had?
109.
109. And Matt?
How many did Will say?
He said 117. He said 117.
I'll say 180.
Dirty.
Oh my God!
$1.
Oh my God! Now this is like a really bad Price is Right game. Now, all right. The correct answer is 136, which means we have a tie between Matt and Will. So Matt,
you're going down, Englishman.
So here's our tiebreaking question between those two. Here you go. Tiebreaker is this, and we will we'll go with the champ first. And we'll do this. Will, you get the option.
Can I defer?
Yes. Would you like to defer and let him go first?
What kind of question is this?
It's a tie-breaking question.
Yes.
Yes, but is it a numbers question or a what?
Yes, it is a numbers question.
Okay.
Then hell yeah, Matt goes first.
Matt goes first. All right. All right, Matt. Here you go. In that same game, Matt, how many yards passing did Warren Moon have?
Let's think he had a good game-ish. Let's go 246 yards.
246 yards. Will, how many yards passing did Warren Moon have against the Redskins in 1998?
Oh boy. Gotta flip a coin here.
Go one up or one down.
That's what I'm trying to decide.
Pretty much.
247.
Will goes 247. The correct answer is 141, which means you're both over, which means Matt, once again, is our champion. God save the Queen, baby. Oh, my God.
Thank you.
Englishman.
Thanks, Will.
An Englishman once again won
All right,
a
I'm getting
trivia
the liquor.
show. Unbelievable. Poor Will.
This is proof that you don't win it in the first question, you don't win it in the second question, you don't win it in the third question, you win it in the fourth question.
Oh, the kids love it. Oh, my God, that's so true. God save the Queen, everybody.
God save the Queen.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back and actually talk about the game coming up right after this.
You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
Folks, the PC police continue to hammer the Washington Redskins over their so-called offensive name. Though, if you've seen them play recently, their name is the least offensive thing on the field.
He's the stat man. He's the stat man. And here's our very own stat man. Here's Mark.
Yes, thank you, Matt, for the introduction for our stats man, Mark. This is the third quarter of the 12th Man Fan Jam, and if you are just joining us, you have missed a spectacular overtime game and halftime trivia where Matt once again regained his championship. It's 2 in a row for Matt. Will anyone stop the crazy Brit? We'll see you next week. Meanwhile, we will talk about the actual game in the second half here, believe it or not. There is a game between the Seahawks and the Washington Redskins coming up. And the second half is when we talk a lot about that game. And we lit off with Statsman Mark. And Mark gives us a stat that we should really look at that might be a key to this game. Mark, what do you think is a key to this game stat-wise?
Well, Moses, before I go with the stat, I want to remind everybody that Gerald Ford had a profound impact on the game of football because he's the first player who invented the trick play where you fall down before getting up and executing the rest of the play.
Brought to you by Chevy Chase, everyone. Chevy Chase. Little Saturday Night Live reference. Look it up, kids. Our silent assassin strikes again. Mark, what do you got stat-wise?
Yeah, that one went over about as well as Kirk Cousins last week. Let's see. The stat is, I believe, it's 5, and that would be the number of Washington turnovers against the Giants. And I think Cousins had 4 interceptions. So what I'm looking for is the Legion of Boom to carry on that tradition, and our defense to throw different looks at him and just confuse them.
Sounds good. Andy, our special guest from Canada. Andy, what do you feel about that? You think we get a lot of interceptions, a lot of turnovers this week?
Yeah, I think so. I think youth of Cousins is going to show. He's not going to have that same effect for the Legion of Boom like so many other quarterbacks will. I think he's going to try to push his luck a little bit, and I just don't see that going in his favor.
I kind of agree with you, Will. You think that's the most important stat is the turnovers?
Well, if you watched Cousins last week, he was locking onto his receivers. He wasn't looking off the safeties. I think we really could get a couple of turnovers off him. And even if we don't get the picks, just making plays in the defensive backfield.
Yeah, I agree with that. Matt, how do you feel about the turnover game?
Yeah, I mean, he had, and those 4 interceptions were in the second half. They're all clustered. I think, providing we can get the rush on him, I think if we can, make him uncomfortable in the pocket, I'm thinking a 5-man full-on rush. I'm thinking, straight up. I want our secondary to be really, really dangerous, and pick him off because I think that's very easy to do. And I wouldn't be surprised if Richard Sherman plays a big part in this game.
Oh, that's a little prediction coming from.
I'll come on to that in the fourth quarter in more detail.
Yeah.
I think that's right. I think that'll happen.
Yeah, I do too. I think that you had to be happy as a Seahawk fan watching Kirk Cousins throw that ball all over FedEx Field and really to a Giants defense who has not really scared anybody and made them look really good. So if you make them look good, then you would think, of course, these games are crazy, but you would think that would hold well for the Legion of Boom this week. So we certainly hope so. Medic Mac has a couple injuries he wants to discuss. Matt, what do you got for it?
Yeah, just a couple. Well, Seahawks obviously have had quite a lot of rest period in the early part of the season, but Zach Miller obviously is the most serious one for us at the moment, and that means that obviously Cooper Helfet's time has arrived, as in fact that says on the front of the Seahawks website at the moment. Now, I don't know necessarily what impact Helfet will actually have in this game, if anything at all, to be fair, but it depends, I think, on what the score is. I mean, if we start running up the score a little bit, then maybe we'll start having a go and see what he's like. So Zach Miller for the Seahawks. The injury for the Redskins for me is actually RG3, which is the obvious one to put out there, because that injury alone, just putting Kirk Cousins in, is probably the key balance in this game and the key balance for the Washington Redskins going forward for quite some time.
I agree. Andy, are you concerned about Miller being out for extended time?
Yeah, I am. That's a big loss. He's got great hands, and he's a huge target when we do decide to use him. But I think more importantly, I think he's very underrated as far as the protecting Russell Wilson.
Blocking,
a great job back there in giving Russell the time he needs to find somebody open or to scramble loose. I think that's the biggest part that we'll miss.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Will. Which do you think is the bigger loss? Do you think RG3? I mean, we talked about Kirk Cousins a little bit, and that's a big loss. But what kind of dynamic does this change for the Seahawks with Miller being out?
Well, again, it's a steady veteran leader on the offensive line and in the receiving group. But this is why we drafted Luke Wilson. This is why we brought in, as blockers, Alvin Bailey and Gary Gilliam, both undrafted guys. Both have looked pretty good so far. So it's next man up, and I think honestly, as far as receiving goes, I think it's Luke Wilson's opportunity. We drafted him, we put a lot of trust in him. All right, let's see what you can do, and we just got to muddle through.
I just hope he's not like his brother Owen Wilson. That would suck.
Just a bit.
Yeah. Mark, your concerns about the tight end position?
Well, yeah, I got to say, among the many stats that I overlooked for this show were the number of sacks that the Redskins had against Eli Manning, and I'm guessing it wasn't many. So hopefully, the loss of Miller will be negated by the fact that the Washington pass rush isn't all that great to begin with.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. Matt, final thoughts on injuries?
No, I mean, I've always been very critical of our tight ends all the way through the season. They got their game together during the Packers game, but I just think it'll be interesting to see, as I say, Cooper Helfet's first sort of real time on the field. I just wonder whether or not we'll go to a running game on this more than anything. With Marshawn leading the way on that, and perhaps Percy as well. So I don't know what impact it'll have. I think it depends very much on what the score is and the sort of plays that they want to play.
I agree. Anyone have any final thoughts before we go into fourth quarter with our predictions?
You can't stop Cooper Helfett. You can only hope to contain him.
Oh, and you can't stop the 12th Man Fan Jam show either. You can only hope to contain it.
It's the end of the third quarter, bitches.
But we've got to stop the third quarter, and we're going to continue with the fourth quarter. It's time to make our predictions, our prognostications, and also a special from long lost Dustin. He did play his Madden game, and we'll talk about that briefly before we do our predictions. And we'll do all of that right after this quick station identification.
You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
Butters, could you get that? Washington Redskins, go f*** yourself. Say what?
And now it's time for the fourth quarter of the 12th Man Fan Jam. Here to lead us through the final quarter is once again our host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, welcome to the fourth and final quarter of the very special Washington Redskin edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam. If you are just joining us in the fourth quarter, you missed a wonderful, amazing come-from-behind victory at halftime trivia by our Englishman Matt, who defended his title at the last moment in overtime.
Again
against Will, who has finished second, I think, 5 times in a row or something. We have a special guest here from Canada, season ticket holder Northernhawk Andy. Hi, Andy.
Hi, guys.
It's been great having you on the show. We always love hearing from you. I hope to see you soon. So,
been a long time.
It has been too long, and I miss the spooning. But we'll talk about that off camera, or off
sure.
Not off camera, but off radio. But before we go into our predictions, we do have Dustin, who has been on our posse this year. He couldn't make it tonight, but he did play his Madden game. We're having Dustin play a Madden game every week, and to see if it actually comes out in the game, or any of the stats actually come out. His Madden game this week had the Seahawks winning 28-0. He had Lynch having 4 touchdowns, Wilson throwing for 237 yards, Earl Thomas having 12 tackles, Richard Sherman with an interception. So, and I'll go ahead and throw his score and prognostication out. What we like to do is give a score and some stat from the game to kind of a prediction itself. His score was 34-10 Seahawks, and his prognostication was 4 Hawks interceptions. And he's given his game ball to Marshawn Lynch. So, with that being said, we will go to the people that are here. Will, always a bridesmaid, never a bride when it comes to our trivia, man. I'm sorry.
That's okay, Moses. For this game, I think the Redskins were, after being so badly humiliated in their last game, I think they're going to come back and play us tough, but are just not good enough to beat us. I'd say Seattle 27, Washington 21. My prognostication, I do believe we're going to get some picks. I think Marcus Burley is going to get his first ever NFL interception this Monday.
Very nice.
And my game ball will go to Russell Wilson.
Well said. Mark from sunny California.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for being on the show again, Mark. It's always good hearing from you.
Oh, that was my cue to speak. I get it.
That's all right.
That would help.
Let's see here. So I'm going to call this Seattle 24, Washington 13. And the crazy thing in this game, I'm going way out on a limb. I've never gone this far out before. I'm going to say that Christine Michael gets at least 1 carry in this game.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
But my game ball will go to Bobby Wagner.
Bobby Wagner. All right. Matt.
Yes.
How are you doing this evening, sir?
It's 4 a.m, but I'm okay. I'm still here. Still going.
4 a.m. That is a great Night Ranger song, by the way. I'm not going to look it up, but 4 a.m. outstanding Night Ranger song. You got a score for us, sir?
Well, you know when I get those feelings, Moses. You know when I get a feeling.
Oh no, this is not good.
Mystic Matt sometimes appears. You know, I get a feeling, and we lose.
Is that a not so fresh feeling?
It's a not so fresh feeling. Yeah.
You know, if you just take some laxatives, that.
So that's what I'm feeling.
Acid is a product for you.
Yeah. Well, as I was saying, I normally sometimes get one of those feelings, and that's a bad sign. I haven't got that feeling for this game, although this could easily be a trap game for us. It's not going to be. I get a feeling that this score is going to be Seattle 28, Redskins 10.
I like that feeling.
I'm getting a feeling that there will indeed be interceptions in this game. There will be 3 interceptions total. Sherman's going to get one of those and return it for 6.
I like that feeling better than your last one.
Yeah.
And that is why Sherman is going to be my game ball.
Sherman, your game ball. All right.
No, there's no Mystic Matt in this one.
No Mystic Matt. No Misty Matt. It's Mystic, but it's not Misty.
It's Mystic and not Misty. There's someone.
Yeah, there you go. Andy, my friend, my brother, it's so good to hear from you.
Hey, thanks for having me on again. Appreciate it, man.
Oh, so glad you could be on. How's Rush doing? How's Loverboy doing? How's Anne Murray? How's everybody?
I'm trying to get them all together for a little all Canadian reunion. Coming to a Walmart parking lot near you.
Are they going to come to your house?
Have some poutine.
Yeah.
Not all the boot. They'll come to my house and
they'll come to your house.
We'll jump up on the roof.
Boost burgers.
Andy, you got a prediction of this game?
Yeah, guys. After a week off, this is the game that NFL doesn't want to put on prime time. This is it's going to be a 49-10 Seattle whooping.
Woo!
I think Malcolm Smith is going to pick up a fumble and run it back a la Super Bowl 48.
Ooh, wow!
Nice.
My game ball's going to Russell Wilson because I do think we might have a bit of a struggle running the ball this week, and I think it's going to be on young Russell Wilson's shoulder to swing the ball around that potent pass receivers.
My goodness, that's a great score. I hope that's so true. Please let that score happen. I guess it's now down to me. I will make my prediction as I've made it previously, and I will go with 34-17. Good guys. That's the Seahawks. I'm gonna go and say.
I
know
that you had to clarify that.
Yeah, good guys, which is the Seahawks.
Well, I'm Dan Snyder.
Is it the boys from the Pacific Northwest or the racists from the capital state?
We'll go with the good guys. And one good guy in particular is going to have over 100 yards and 2 TDs, 100 yards of total offense, and that is Percy Harvin. Ooh. Now, that's going to be 100 yards of total offense, rushing and receiving, and 2 touchdowns. I know this is not his turf to do this on, but I just feel like they're going to forget about him, and I think a couple 20-yard runs, and he's going to have a couple touchdowns. I think this is going to be the game where everyone says, so that's the first year round pick that they gave up, which they did in the Super Bowl, but I think he's going to show himself again big time during this game.
It's interesting you mentioned the turf, though, Moses, because that's something we have got to consider as the injuries coming out of this game. That will be a factor.
Yeah,
well, unfortunately, it's early enough in the year that hopefully the turf is not in completely horrible shape.
Oh, you can only hope with that place. That's just
tell that to RG3.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, we'll tell this to RG3 too, because it looks like it's getting about that time, guys. It's time to bring another wonderful and amazing 12th Man Fan Jam show to a sad close, and we are so glad that you out there decided to waste some time with us for the Seahawk game. It was, as usual, a show that raised the bar here at the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. They always do. And the Canadian always helps, Andy. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah. We certainly hope you laughed a little. We hope you didn't cry. And maybe, just maybe, you learned a little something along the way. And what did we as a group learn this evening? Well, we learned that little Rufio is hated by Lions fans. We learned that Matt cannot lose in trivia about America. And we also learned that Prince Amukamura needs to get laid. So, on behalf of Andy, Statsman Mark, our new channel, Shadowhawk Will, not Shadow Will, and my partner in crime, Matt, this is your self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity. Saying, God Almighty, I hope I can get my tongue fixed before next week. And go Hawks!
Go Hawks!
Hey, Moses.
Yes, sir.
I know this is probably not your normal closing, but can I kind of end the night with a bit of a somber note?
Yes, you may.
So as you may or may not know, a dear friend of most of us lost her mom this morning. So I just wanted to give out a shout out to Tam and Ryan and their family, and our hearts are with you, and all of our condolences.
Absolutely, Tam and Ryan, if you're listening, all of us at 12th Man Fan Jam are thinking about you all for sure, and our thoughts and prayers are with you. That's
Thanks,
definitely,
Andy.
absolutely, Andy. Well done. And
Thanks,
yep, and that'll bring the end of this show. We'll see you next week. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.